Hey everybody, it's Charles, your hobby hero, and we are going to be going over Covrprice's new top 10 list ending on January 10th. Before we get started, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down in the bottom corner. I do appreciate it. Put out regular content about the hobbies I love the most. Now this list may seriously be one of the most ridiculous top 10 lists I have ever seen. If you're not familiar, Covrprice puts out a weekly list of like the big movers over the course of the week. Different things cause these things to move around on the speculation. That's what we're going to do today, is kind of cover why these books are hot, whether or not I think that they're warranted to pick up now, or if this is something that is just going to pass into oblivion. Now, there are some minor spoilers in this from some of the stuff that has occurred recently in comics and in some of the projects for Disney+. So if you don't want anything spoiled whatsoever, you might not want to tune in. But having said that, we'll go ahead and jump into number 10 on the list. And probably the most credible book on this entire list is going to be Star Wars Darth Vader number 3. Now, if you are not familiar with this book was already pretty hot. This is the first appearance of Dr. Aphra. People have been speculating that this particular character is primed for making a breakthrough show inside the real live action universe of Disney Plus series, etc. And this book was already going for probably about $400 and a 9.8 in that ballpark. The arrival of Black Chrysanthemum in episode 2 of Book of Boba Fett has gotten a lot of people even more interested in this book, as he is a companion for Dr. Aphra on a lot of her adventures. So his appearance adds that extra level of credibility to the spec that is already behind her book. I am a big fan of this book. I always keep my antenna out for good copies of this book that may be potential high-grade candidates. There are some high-ratio variants of this book that are just astronomical in price, and I'm sure they will get a bump on this one as well. As far as whether or not right now is a good time to pick up, I would probably wait until this list cools down a little bit. I do think the book has staying power. I do think it is solid spec that has gotten the value of the book up there to this point. So I don't think it's a bad pickup, just probably not the best time to pick it up. Next one on the list, more Star Wars. You're going to get tired of hearing me say this, I promise you, by the end of it. Star Wars number 14 is pretty much just a cover with Black Chrysanthemum on it. That's pretty much the only reason why this book picked up in sales last week. Like I said, I'm going to sound like a broken record by the end of it. If it's a key revolving around this character, I think you should probably leave it alone for the time being, unless you really are just passionate about this character. The spec for this week, and honestly, after this week's episode, because we're filming this on Wednesday, so the other episode's already dropped, I think a lot of his spec is going to cool down very quickly. No spoilers about this week's episode, but I don't see him being a reoccurring character currently. Next one on the list, Star Wars number 13. Again, this one was really just a cover by. Originally thought to be the first cover appearance of Black Chrysanthemum, and we honestly, even more ironically, turns out it was not the first cover appearance of him. So this book is probably going to have a pullback just from the fact that the key issue that it was doesn't even really make it the key that people who were purchasing thought it was. Again, anything tied to this character right now, if you're purchasing, I would wait. If you're selling, it's a great time to sell if you had these already in your collection. Perfect time to move it. The extra publicity from Covrprice is going to help push these sales numbers a little bit higher throughout this next week, but I imagine you're going to start to see it trail back after that. Next one on the list is Thor number 20. This one is absolutely mind-boggling to me, specifically the 1:25 ratio. The key in this book is a cameo appearance for the God of Hammers, who will be making their first full appearance in the next issue. Once the next issue hits, as far as collectors for years and years to come are going to be concerned, no one is going to care about the first cameo appearance like they're going to care about the first appearance. It's just how that works. Now, right now, the opposite is going to be true, because the first cameo was probably way less ordered than the next full appearance is going to be. The fact that raw versions of this book and cover A are going for $20 and raw versions of the 1:25 are going upwards of $200 is absolutely mind-boggling to me. This is absolutely not a book that I would buy. This is absolutely not a book I would hold long-term. But it is a book, if you got it, I would definitely move it now. Again, I think you see a little bit of a bump from the publicity of the Covrprice article, but before that next issue drops, I would definitely be looking to move this book. All right, next one on the list, number 6, Star Wars Dr. Aphra Annual number 1. Guess why? We'll call him BK. It's his first solo story. Again, another book that is very hyped just for his current appearance, and again is going to drop off very dramatically. This is not a character that we are going to have a lot of exposure to currently. Down the road, could a project that features him as a mainline character show up? Absolutely. Will he ever reach that level and love and affection like of a Chewbacca type character? I don't see that happening, but I could see an ongoing series where he is featured. It's just not going to be for a while, which means that right now is probably not the best time to pick it up. Number 5 on the list is the Timeless Miss Minutes cover. We covered this one last week's video. This book is the weakest miniature spec on the cover that I've ever seen. This is a cover B for a character that we will probably never really have a set place in either the MCU. She may show up in Loki Season 2. She may not. Even if she is in Loki Seasons 2, she wasn't a really a main character in Season 1. I don't understand the reason why this one's going for so much more than cover A. The particular issue itself has some spec potential as far as the actual contents of the comic, but as far as this particular cover warranting the huge price tag that it has, with a high sell of $240 and a CGC 9A, I don't understand it, and I absolutely do not think it will be able to maintain that price. Number 4 on the list is Star Wars number 20. Again, another BK key. And this one is the issue where he goes off after Obi-Wan Kenobi and he gets that nasty scar that is over his eye. With the Obi-Wan series slated for Disney+, a lot of people are speculating this particular scene will take place in the series. Again, that's a ways down the road if it happens in the series. There may be an opportunity to buy this. Right now would not be the time to do that. I would wait till all that spec and hype over this character dies off, which will probably be right around the time the Book of Boba Fett season ends. If you do want this book in your collection, that is probably the best time to pick it up. And on the list, again, number 3 on the list, Thor number 20, the Greg Land variant. Again, a cameo of a character who will be fully addressed in the next issue. Long-term value, this book has very little spec potential going forward. If the character becomes a home run character, and I'm not saying they won't, this is not the book that people are going to focus on getting. Yet rarity does make a difference in collectability, because I know that's the first thing that somebody's going to say in the comments section is, hey, there's going to be fewer of these printed than the next one because everybody knows about the next issue and everybody's going to be ordering it. Well, everybody's ordering it for a reason. People want the first appearance, not the first cameo appearance. And once that first appearance is on the shelf, this first cameo is going to drop, and it's going to continue to drop, and it's going to fall further and further out of significance. The longer this character remains relevant, more people are going to be landing on Thor 21. I do think it's a very strong indicator that Thor number 21 is going to be a very popular book. So if you haven't gotten it on your pull file already, I would go ahead and talk to your local comic shop and see if they can get that set aside for you. All right, number 2 on the list, and the last time we'll be mentioning this book or this character and his impact is Star Wars Darth Vader number 1. This is the official first appearance of Black Chrysanthemum. He is all over this list in a big way. This book has shot up. It was already a pretty nice book anyways. Great Darth Vader cover. I personally had this book in a 9.8 up until very recently. Great cover. Again, first appearance that was in there leading into the Dr. Aphra story. Just a great all-around book. I do think this book will probably hold some value. Obviously, it's got a little bit of a bump in price right now because of this here. If you're wanting to pick this book up, I would highly recommend, again, waiting till it cools down just a little bit before pulling the trigger on this particular book, but of the books that are on this list, this is one that I think does have some staying power, as it is a legitimate key, a number one in a series, and just a great cover to boot. And then last, and quite possibly least, is just the regular Thor number 20. Again, I've said it twice, I'll say it thrice. This book is super hyped right now for a cameo appearance, which absolutely blows my mind that people are speccing this hard on a cameo appearance, because there's just no data to support a cameo appearance retaining this kind of value in any of the markets. It's not as if Thor is an obscure title to where this book was not ordered at all and it was a super low print run. It will be a lower print run than Thor 21 for sure, but I think people are confusing lower print run with low print run, and that is really the only way I could justify this thing demanding the price that it is. Again, if you have this book, if you have stockpiles of this book for whatever reason, I would highly recommend you unload these books now, because after the next issue drops, I just cannot see this maintaining even the modest $20 value of the regular cover A on this particular book. So as I said, this list was absolutely nuts. The fact that all top 10 of the books on the top 10 list were basically Thor number 20 and one character's keys is absolutely mind-boggling to me, that those markets are that influential. On the other side, this should let you know, if you are somebody who likes to buy and sell on these trends, how much of an impact these things have. A show like Book of Boba Fett, if you are seriously into buying and selling Star Wars comics, you have absolutely got to be watching those shows as they come out, because that is what is moving the needle on these markets. Good, bad, or indifferent, that's just the reality of it. Do I agree with all the prices people are paying for these books? That's not what I'm saying, but you can't dispute the fact of the situation is that people are. So let me know in your comments. Let me know if you think any of these books that I don't believe have any staying power, if you think they're there for the long haul, or vice versa. If one of the ones that I thought had some staying power, you absolutely don't see it going anywhere, let me know. Love hearing back from you guys as well. But until next time, guys, Hobby Hero out.